Hey guys, this is Chris Kermis, and today I'm in Skopje, the capital of Europe's poorest country, North Macedonia. This is a crazy city. It's a mix of new buildings trying to look old, remnants from the Ottoman time, and crazy concrete brutalist masterpieces. I'll take you on a little tour today. We'll see not only the tourist sites, but also the architecture, we'll see the food, and I'll take you to parts of the city that are really off the tourist path. So come with me, and let's see what the real Skopje is like. Okay, what better way to start the day here in Skopje than with burek? So, burek is a pastry filled with either mincemeat or cheese or leek. It's basically a kind of hangover from the Ottoman time, and it's quite a famous local thing here. And there's one place here called Silbo, which is famous for it. They're a bakery basically, but they're open 24 hours. People queue up to get burek and other fresh baked stuff from here. So, we're going to give it a try right now. Okay, getting a cheese burek. This looks amazing. Oh, that's some beautiful pastry with just lovely, lovely creamy cheese inside. Simple, but what is not to love about that? What a great way to start any day. You want to see the real vibe of a city? This is the way to do it. Go to the local food market. Not the place where the tourists get fed, the place where the locals go to get their food. And so that's Skopje's green market. Pretty centrally located really, it's just a short walk to where the main tourist action is, the main square and that kind of thing. But looks like a different world from that part. So Skopje is actually known as the city of statues. In 1963, there was a massive earthquake here which destroyed a large part of the city. And then around 40 years later, the government here decided to basically repopulate the city with statues, try and get a new kind of national pride in the city. So there's about 200 obscure statues around the city now, and it was quite controversial really, because a lot of the population thought, why are you wasting the taxpayers' money on this, in what is fundamentally a very poor country? But it makes for a bizarre city when you walk around seeing these statues today. This park's absolutely full of them. The one you see behind me kind of reminds me of Sting in the original Dune movie. And here behind me is the Macedonia Gate, the Arc de Triomphe of Skopje, if you will. And of course there's statues, guys sitting to either side of it, guys on top of it. Almost old-style London buses running around. This place is bizarre. Let's take a wander into this odd building behind me. Looks like this should lead round to the river. Actually seems to be some kind of dark, old-school shopping mall, kind of open to the elements, so no air conditioning. And would you look at that, we've found the right exit here. We've come out to the pirate ship on the river. It's like you look around you here and you see a combination of modern, nice-looking buildings, but pretending to be old buildings. You see the concrete monstrosities of brutalist architecture. You see old Ottoman-style buildings. Everything just in one go, in one kind of mess, but in this kind of obscure and charming way. So this is Mother Teresa Square, just the north side of the river. Here again we've got this interesting mix of architecture. The National Opera and Ballet here behind me, brutalist style. And this is really, of course, another thing to come out of the massive earthquake. With about 80% of the city destroyed, during the rebuilding, it was decided to basically go with this brutalist architecture. So a bunch of brutalist architects were hired to recreate modern buildings for the city. Of course, what was thought to be modern back then looks like a concrete monstrosity now, but it's an interesting piece of history. So Skopje is built on the Vardar River, and the stone bridge that you see behind me is one of the oldest bridges in Europe, linking the old city with the new. You can go from relatively modern, new, but old-looking buildings on one side to a completely different side of town with mosques and ancient Ottoman-era structures and a completely different, more archaic way of life. Sadly, the bridge also is a bit of a hotspot for begging, and I've seen a lot of families bringing their tiny children out to beg, which is always sad and hard to see. The Skopje Fortress that you see behind me seems to dominate over the old part of town as you walk over the stone bridge. But actually, what you see there is all you get. Basically, it was built in the 6th century, but during the Ottoman occupation, they destroyed pretty much all of it. And there's just this portion of wall remaining. The fortress itself is basically gone. And there's a big staircase up here. Let's see where that takes us. Macedonian souvenirs. Seems to have seen better days. Well, I think if nothing else, we'll get a little bit of a view up here. And now we step into the area known as the Old Bazaar. This is the part of the city which really feels a bit more Turkish than it does anything else. One thing I noticed straight away is a lot of Turkish food on offer, so there clearly is that sort of influence up here. And the Old Bazaar is now morphed from proper storefronts to much more of an actual open-air market. It's got busier, the streets have got smaller. It feels very different again. Stepping through the Old Bazaar and out the other side, it feels very much like discovering some more of the real side of Skopje. You know, away from the places where tourists come and eat and drink in pretty surrounds. So you find here what in any other city would probably be a well-preserved tourist site, but here it's just falling into disrepair. And just opposite that, more striking brutalist architecture. Yeah, walking around here, Skopje strikes me as a city that doesn't really know what it wants to be. It's just a little bit of everything with a bucket load of strange thrown in. So I've just stopped off for a snack in the Old Bazaar. There's a place called Snoshti Minav, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but this supposedly has some good traditional North Macedonian food. So I've just ordered some of the kebapi, which is the little kind of horizontal meat on a stick type things, like the kind of kebabs you get in the Middle East. So that's a really Macedonian thing. Got to give this a try. Okay, so kebapi has arrived. They really are really little. I didn't expect them to be quite this small. So we've got this nice warm bread here as well, which looks pretty much like it's been dipped in the juices that the meat's been cooking in at the top. Just lovely and warm and delicious. And then of course the kebapi themselves. Let's see what these are like. Looks very much like a Middle Eastern style kebab, but just on a smaller scale and not on a sword. That's nice, it's got lovely flavour to it. It's got nice and meaty with like a bit of onion in there. Simple but effective. I mean, just what you want when you eat this sort of thing. Let's try some of this bread, it's still just baking hot. Yeah, what can you say? Freshly baked bread, still got the flour on, and you totally get this little flavour of where it's just been put in the meat juices. Nice. Now you may not know this, I certainly didn't, but Mother Teresa was actually born in Skopje. Now what you see behind me here is the Mother Teresa Memorial House. They built this in 2009 in her honour, and it's actually on the exact spot where the church used to be where she was baptised. It's a fitting tribute in there to the woman who was probably the most famous nun in the world, the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, honorary citizen of multiple countries, and a person who met several world leaders. Now let's head out west from the city centre for something a little different. We'll explore some of Skopje's wonderful brutalist architecture, see its more upscale eating and drinking neighbourhood, and have dinner at one of its highest rated places for traditional food. And there we go, there's a rather nice brutalist monstrosity right there. Oh, look at this back here, this is fantastic. This part is supposed to be the headquarters of the Macedonian post office. Let's see if we can get any closer. Oh, I think I found a way in. Would you? Look at that, that is just fantastic, isn't it? It's such interesting architecture, but whoever thought that looked good? Let's step around the corner from here where it appears that you've got quite a nice looking church. And this is what we're looking for, the Church of St. Clement of Ohrid. So I've come out just west from the city centre, through a kind of residential neighbourhood, and now to Bohemian Street. Looking, if nothing else, a little bit quiet at the moment. I think I might be too early in the day, it seems. And there you have it. Really proof that there's not much going on at about 4:45 in the afternoon. Well, there are undoubtedly some nice streets around here, and definitely a bit of life. So this is the place that I'm looking to go. Busy enough here, looks pretty nice. Okay, so I'm thinking this area of town is basically where you get the slightly higher end restaurants. Certainly looking at the menus, the prices are higher by Western standards, and Amsterdam standards where I live, the prices are pretty low, but this is definitely higher end than what I see, for example, in the Old Town. But it looks very traditional, it looks popular as well. So I've ordered a starter of the wine leaf sarmas, that's a very traditional dish. Ordered another dish here, a main dish, which is probably going to be too big for me, but I've got to try it here. It's called Skopski Merak, and it's basically a kind of pastry pot with pork fillet in there, mincemeat, mushrooms. So the starters arrived, the wine leaf sarma. I'm super excited to try this, quite a traditional local thing. Oh wow, that's not what I was expecting. That's just a massive beef onslaught. You just bite into that, just massive lovely beef with this awesome kind of spiciness and like also a tart sort of lemon sharpness coming out with it as well. That's super tasty. Now the main course has arrived, just as I finish eating those. So I can see already that's filled with cheese, certainly filled with bacon by the looks of things as well. I don't think I'm going to go hungry from this one. Yeah, without a doubt, this is big, hearty food, which I think would well suit a cold winter's night, really, as opposed to quite a hot summer's day. Definitely heavy, going to be hard to eat at all, but pretty delicious for what it is, certainly. Really enjoyed that. That was a great feed. I see why this place gets the good reviews. It's certainly not cheap by local standards. I think I paid, well, less than 20 euros, which is definitely cheap by the standards I'm used to. So what's that, about $20 at today's rate? But yeah, well worth coming out to. I'm going to head back towards the centre now, just going to head down towards the river and basically walk along the river for a bit, work off the food. So the walk down to the river takes us through Skopje's city park. Just coming out of the Bohemian Street, which I now see as being basically a suggestion, more of an area than a street. You just cross a big busy road and you're over in the park. It looks like on the edge of the city park here you come across the football stadium. English pub corner over there on the edge of the stadium. Strange place. It's definitely the football stadium, but you got a lot of weird stuff around there. Just walk past a shop selling washing machines, just in case you want to buy a washing machine before or after the game. I don't know. A lot of police around here though. There must have been someone playing earlier. And look at that, we've made it out the other side. So this is the Vardar River. So this is the more unspoilt side of the river before you get to the fake pirate boats and all the absurdity of the centre of town. And another big and rather closed down looking pirate ship signifies that we're definitely back towards the centre now. If there's much else to see on this side of town now. Okay guys, so this is goodbye from Skopje. I've really enjoyed my time here. This is a crazy eclectic city, but it's kind of so distinctive and so much fun. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Don't be shy with that like button, and I hope to see you next time, folks.